Thank you, Madam Speaker and colleagues. I didn't speak to the bill yesterday. There were amendments that I was hoping we could make to make this a better bill. And as I speak today, I'm going to try to stay away from any euphemisms or mixing or lumping together of folks. When I'm speaking at all of folks that were not born in this country in relation to this bill, I'm talking about people whose first act upon taking residency in our nation was to break our nation's laws, not those that are coming through legal processes and attempting to get citizenship, but those who broke our laws and those that continue to break our laws. I oppose this bill. And again, I think I may have mentioned in another yesterday that I generally say that I believe the sponsors of most of the bills that come forward, or all the bills that come forward, are well-intentioned. But I've also learned over the last 100+ days that we're not supposed to look at the intentions or impugn motivation, but just look at the bill. So, to the bill itself, from my point of view, from the district I represent, it sends the wrong message. It imposes the wrong priorities, and it sets the wrong policy for the people of Colorado, all of them, but most especially our rural communities and the working families that are already being asked to do so much more with so much less. At its core, Senate Bill 25-276 undermines the rule of law. And I know there's been a lot said today about what's happening nationally in other states and around places that are not Colorado. But here in Colorado, it undermines the rule of law, and that's a dangerous path to go down. We don't like federal law, we violate it in Colorado. Our counties and municipalities don't like Colorado law, they violate it in their towns and municipalities. Individuals don't like the laws, they break them. This is a bad, bad path to be on. This bill prohibits cooperation between local governments, law enforcement, and federal immigration authorities. It says that we do not trust our own law enforcement to do the right thing when confronted with very serious issues, and imposes our will on them in a way that ties their hands and prevents them from doing what is right in an individual situation. It imposes new legal risks on public servants and puts up significant barriers to coordination with those that are trying to stop threats to public safety against all Coloradans. I don't think this is even public policy. At this point, it's political insulation for those that have broken our laws. And there's going to be costs, and not just financial, not just legal, but again, in the very fabric of our societies. Just yesterday, we learned the federal government's filed a lawsuit against the state of Colorado over sanctuary policies that were already on the books. Now, I joined to sponsor in the House a Senate bill that would have reversed many of the policies that this lawsuit is based on. And that bill failed. It didn't get out of the Senate committee. So now what? Well, now we have 276. We're already being sued, and now we have a bill that doubles down on those same policies. It expands them, it codifies them, and in doing so, it risks triggering even broader legal action and the loss of significant federal funding that's tied to public safety, law enforcement, our schools, our roads, medical care for all. We are endangering the lives of all of our citizens, all of the residents of Colorado, because we're trying to find a way to protect those that started their residency in this nation by breaking the law. This isn't theoretical, it's happening now. Denver's already lost $24 million, or they haven't lost it, I guess, depending on how you read the articles. They're not going to get reimbursement, but they spent money that they expected to be reimbursed that now will have to come out of other spending and other priorities. Federal government's clearly watching us, and Colorado may seem to be on the hook for choosing defiance over partnership. And our taxpayers are the ones that are going to pay the price. You know, a lot of folks have stood up here and said this is our moment. This is not a great civil rights moment. It's a moment where we choose whether we're going to support our own citizens over those who, again, broke the law as their first act of residency. And we're already paying in other ways, and it has been stated. Colorado taxpayers are shouldering the cost of services to individuals who are here unlawfully. And the numbers are staggering and hard to pin down. But it looks like we've spent about $340 million in K-12 funding last year to educate students who are in the country illegally. They're kids, it's not their fault. But we're a magnet and we're drawing people in illegally and there's a cost. We celebrated wildly last year that we had closed the budget stabilization gap, that we had found $500 million to finally pay into our schools the amount that our formula said the schools should get. 500 million, but 340 of it's going to folks that should not have been here. And again, kids, it's not their fault. But parents made a decision, and every parent wants a better life for their kids. But you could make the case that people that are robbing banks, stealing cars, stealing catalytic converters are doing so to make a living and help their kids. We should not make illegality something that we frown upon in one area and celebrate in another. But here we are, considering a bill that will attract even more illegal aliens to Colorado. While our hospitals are stretched thin, our road projects are delayed, our roads are falling apart, our schools are stressed, we got water projects that continue to get pushed off year after year after year on the Eastern Plains. Our public resources are not infinite, that is absolutely clear. But policies like this stretch them even further. And again, not for Coloradans who followed the law, but for those that are being shielded from it. Reasonable amendments were offered. Good faith efforts to ensure we could still coordinate appropriately with federal agencies. Denied. Amendments to ensure we could still receive mutual aid through National Guard coordination during wildfires and natural disasters were offered. Those were denied. Even a very simple amendment, one sentence, that would have kept this legislature in a position to oversee appropriations, which is our job, was denied. All of them were rejected. And now the bill even includes, or still includes, language that limits the ability of military forces from other states to train in support of our national defense. In order to protect against what a sponsor admitted was a concern that a governor of Texas was a threat to the sovereignty of our state. I mean, we've heard more about Texas in the last 2 days in the Colorado legislature than I ever would have guessed. The language in this bill risks complicating emergency response, wildfire support, natural disaster coordination, and these are all things that rural Colorado depends on. We're not legislating in the public interest with this bill. We're legislating from a place of politics, not good policy. And
Representative Richardson, you do have 1 minute remaining.
Thank you. The people I represent don't want more bureaucracy, more lawsuits, or more invitations to lose federal support. They want functioning hospitals. They want safe roads. They want clean water. They want strong schools and a government that respects their hard work and their tax dollars and expects services to be returned to them, not others that are here illegally. But perhaps the worst of it, the bill places those who broke the laws by entering our nation illegally ahead of our own citizens. We can have compassion, but we should not be drawing into our state more and more people that drain the precious few resources we have. And we're risking a tremendous amount of federal dollars, and we may be one of those.
Representative Richardson, your time has expired.
Thank you, ma'am. Please vote no.